late news. This is the CBS 13 News at 10.
Tonight, for the first time, friends of John Toretti, who died in police custody after a violent struggle with officers, tell their story to CBS 13. That violent struggle was caught on cell phone video, and it is not at all how friends describe Toretti. Good evening, I'm Sam Shane.
And I'm Shanna Bredius. Only on CBS 13, Laura Cole spoke with the suspect's friends in what would be their final conversation.
Wait, the police got him! The police got him!
This video, captured on a CBS 13 viewer's cell phone, shows the struggle between Sacramento police officers and suspect John Toretti.
I understand he's a big guy, but I've never seen him hurt a fly.
Toretti's friends say they'd just seen him minutes before the violent struggle outside this Metro PCS store Friday night.
He seemed just fine. I asked him how he was. He said he was doing great and that he'd be right back to talk to me.
But Jerry Kroger would never see his friend again. Minutes after what would be their last conversation, Kroger saw the police cars and crime scene tape. He says Toretti was homeless and sometimes appeared to show signs of having PTSD.
Just by the way he carried himself, and he's always cautious.
We're also learning the City of Sacramento's Public Safety Accountability Office is monitoring the police department's investigation, something they do in any high-profile case like this one.
We try to go in and give this unbiased look at the whole situation. We don't go in with police lenses. We don't go in with anything other than the community's interest in mind. And to do that, we have to wait until the investigation is complete.
And they say that means waiting for the coroner to determine Toretti's cause of death. But his friends have questions and wonder whether this use of force was necessary on a man they only saw as caring.
Happy, smiling, and just what I've heard on the news so far, it don't sound like him at all.
The coroner's office has determined that Toretti did not suffer fatal traumatic injuries from that struggle, but toxicology results are still pending.
And we did reach out again today for comment from Sacramento's chief of police. Our phone calls were not returned. Sam?
Shannon, a Sacramento doctor and his wife died in a fiery plane crash in Arizona. Dr. Matthew Metzger was piloting that plane when it crashed shortly after takeoff Tuesday in Flagstaff. His wife and he were heading to Utah. New tonight, Steve Large is live at McClellan Air Park right now with how the doctor is being remembered and what investigators know about this crash so far. Steve?
And Sam, Dr. Matt Metzger had been a pilot for about 10 years. He and his wife had bought a plane and they kept it here at McClellan Air Park. This is where they left over the weekend for a trip across the Southwest, and they had made it as far as Arizona. They had landed there, but it's when they were leaving that everything came to a sudden end. The plane slammed into the ground shortly after takeoff, just 50 feet from a home near Flagstaff, Arizona, clipping treetops on its way down. Video from the aftermath shows parts of the plane charred from fire that broke out after the crash landing. Sacramento doctor Matt Metzger and his wife Patricia Hughes died immediately.
Matt was a unique fella and was very dear to all of our hearts.
Dr. Stanley Ruggles worked with Dr. Metzger for 30 years. He's a pilot himself and had also flown with Dr. Metzger.
You kind of think, well, it's not going to happen, you know. But all of a sudden it does happen to somebody you know very well and who was a careful guy and a careful pilot. And I have no idea what happened.
The FAA reports the plane, a Beechcraft Bonanza like this one, had trouble gaining altitude at takeoff. Dr. Ruggles says he's also flown out of the Flagstaff Airport and knows its challenges.
It might have been warm around noontime. It was high altitude. I don't know how heavy his airplane was.
Metzger and his wife were in the midst of an extended Memorial Day weekend getaway. The Sheriff's Department where the plane crashed said the couple left Sacramento Saturday and spent the weekend in Flagstaff. They were taking off Tuesday for Bryce Canyon, Utah, but crash landed just 3 miles from the Flagstaff Airport.
There's no easy fix here. Matt is irreplaceable, basically.
Dr. Metzger and his wife leave behind 3 children. They're all young adults. The NTSB and FAA, I should say, are handling the investigation.
All right, quite a loss. Steve, thank you.
Sacramento police have made an arrest in a drive-by shooting over a graduation party invite. 33-year-old Onetta McCoy is in custody, charged with attempted murder after police say she and 2 others drove by a home on Icarus Court yesterday, shooting 2 people outside. McCoy's relatives point to a family feud over a party guest list. Investigators say she was behind the wheel. Police have yet to catch the shooter. The 12-year-old Calaveras County boy accused of stabbing his sister to death says he didn't do it. Isaiah Fowler faced a judge today in Calaveras County. He's charged with second-degree murder and special circumstances in his sister Layla's stabbing death. Her body was found at the family's home last month. Isaiah remains in custody. His lawyers didn't ask for him to be released from custody.
And it's been very difficult to go back to a very solid, stable life. Enough to receive their son back during this trial. So at this time, it's just not we don't have an appropriate placement for him.
Isaiah is scheduled back in court at the end of July.
Another volatile fight over pension benefits surfaced tonight in Roseville. This is a fiscal fight that we are seeing play out in cities all across California these days. In Roseville, the police officers are demanding that their pensions be paid by city taxpayers. New tonight, Maria Medina is live at City Hall with why the negotiation reached a boiling point in the last day. Maria?
And Sam, originally those contract talks were scheduled for June 5th at 7 p.m. Police officers say they had dozens of supporters lined up to show that night. Then suddenly the meeting changed to tomorrow, leaving those officers scrambling.
Yeah, Vince Dudo with the Roseville Police Officers Association.
With less than 24 hours to rally supporters,
We're looking for support from the citizens.
members of the Roseville Police Officers Association passed out flyers to as many people as they could.
We're going through some contract difficulties with the city of Roseville.
The city doesn't want to sit down and work on a solution anymore.
The president of the union says they were scheduled for contract talks on June 5th with the city and expected dozens of supporters to attend. But then yesterday, the city decided to hold a special emergency meeting instead for Thursday at 11 a.m. and never called the union to tell them.
It just really seems sneaky.
The union says the city's decision is a calculated step to leave officers scrambling now for supporters.
It's going to be almost impossible to get that in such a short amount of time and at such a weird hour.
We ran into this city council member as officers passed out flyers.
Time to move forward with our negotiations with our officers, and we're looking forward to moving forward. So we're going to do that tomorrow.
How do you feel about them saying that you didn't notify them?
They were well notified. Thank you.
The city spokesperson released a statement reading in part, quote, "Tomorrow's meeting was scheduled as a matter of urgency. All meetings have been noticed in compliance with the Brown Act," end quote.
Is it legally right? Yes. Is it ethically right? No.
And so this is the flyer that they were handing out. Again, police officers say that the city did this to impose a contract without giving those police officers enough time to prepare for the meeting tomorrow. But the city councilor we ran into today says, again, they are looking forward to working with the police officer union.
Well, these pension debates are not going away. They are very contentious and deep, and obviously a lot of cities are dealing with them. All right, Maria, thanks very much for that. By July of 2015, CalPERS will require each county and city in the state of California to come up with millions of dollars more every year just to cover pensions for public employees. So instead of hiring officers or firefighters, cities like Elk Grove will be looking for more money, with taxpayers seeing very little in return.
The taxpayers are not getting what they're paying for because the money is going out of the cities and to Wall Street in order to pay for pensions.
A number of cities have renegotiated with union leaders to increase what these public employees pay into their retirement funds. Some economists expect more cities will file for bankruptcy if something does not change in the state's pension system soon. The FBI is investigating more letters now containing the poison ricin. This time it targeted the New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg.
Christine Anderson's at the World and National Desk with this investigation.
Well, the letters were sent to Bloomberg in New York and his Washington, D.C. based gun control group as well. Both letters were anonymous and postmarked in Louisiana. They contained an oily pinkish orange substance, and sources say the letters sent to New York contained a message as well saying, quote, "This is a taste of what's to come if you come to take my gun." The FBI will conduct more tests on the letters to confirm the presence of ricin. Police in China are now deciding whether to press charges against the mother of a baby pulled from a sewer pipe. The 22-year-old woman confessed to giving birth and said that she delivered her son in the toilet, tried to catch him, but he slipped into the pipe. That baby boy is doing well in the hospital this evening. And a woman and her grandson found a loaded gun on a Disney World ride. Officials say that woman turned it over to a park attendant there, who then called authorities. The gun's owner has a concealed weapons permit, we're told, and did not know that guns were not allowed in the park. Shannon?
Okay, Christina. A Disneyland employee is facing charges after he allegedly put a dry ice bomb in a park trash can. The bomb triggered a small explosion inside Mickey's Toontown last night. The 22-year-old suspect is a park vendor. He's facing charges of possessing a destructive device. No one was hurt, though.
A move to give illegal immigrants the right to drive in California is now one step closer to becoming law.
The bill would affect the 2 million or so unlicensed drivers in the state. New tonight, Kit Doe with what that will mean for the rest of us.
Undocumented immigrants who drive without a license say they have no choice. Pancho Villa knows quite a few of them.
People driving, people need to work, people need to go to the hospitals and everything. This is our everyday life.
1 in 8 drivers on the road does not have a license, which means as many as 2 million California drivers have never passed a DMV exam, taken a vision test, or learned traffic laws. As a result, they are 3 times as likely to cause an accident and are blamed for 1 in 5 fatal crashes. Assemblyman Luis Alejo says it's a public safety crisis.
Their incentive is that they don't want to drive in fear that when they take their kids to school or drive to work that they might get their cards taken away and impounded, that they might get arrested and taken to county jail because they have no identification.
Right now, you need a social security card to get a driver's license, but that could change. Instead, undocumented immigrants could show other forms of ID like a birth certificate, a consular ID card, a utility bill, or lease agreement. If passed, millions of unlicensed drivers could come out of the shadows to get trained, tested, and insured.
We think that's a smart thing to do, and it's in everybody's interest.
Still, not everyone is convinced it's a good idea.
It's just going to put a lot of people on the street that aren't financially ready to have a license. You know, when I say not financially ready, I'm saying that they're not going to have insurance.
The bill now heads to the Senate.
Right now, illegal immigrants can get licenses in just 4 states. That would be Washington, New Mexico, Illinois, and just recently, Colorado.
I think that at the end of the day, they're liars and they're cheaters.
Athletes succeeding without steroids, the training technology that uses video games to get athletes in shape.
Wouldn't it be nice not to sweat so much during that workout? Maybe wear a shirt where perspiration actually rolls off the fabric?
Why haven't they invented anything like that yet?
They have, right in our own backyard.
A Rockland cosmetic surgeon accused of botching surgeries wants his license back. Why he thinks the medical board never should have taken it away.
An HD TV for 99 cents. That's right, where you can get in line for that deal, Dave.
It's a screaming deal.
Yeah.
Hey, we're heating things up. Just how close to 90 are we going to get tomorrow? We're going to show you using the hour-by-hour forecast. Christina.
Well, Dave, first, an ostrich on the loose. The traffic trouble that bird caused when we're back in 60 seconds.
Hope I don't screw up.
Live on CBS 13. Hello, my name is Shaka.
Well, here's a traffic hazard you don't expect. An ostrich roaming free in southeast China. It does get hit by a motorcycle, but gets up and moves on in the wrong direction, then hits 2 cars head on without being phased either, we're told. Police finally caught up to that ostrich, who we're told was not hurt. Nobody still at this point knows where that bird came from.
It's a fast mover.
Could be a pet.
Could be.
Pet ostrich.
Pet ostrich.
That'd be
That'd
fun.
be bizarre.
Cool.
You have one?
No. Thank you.
Wants one. Thank you. A 40-inch HD TV on sale for less than $1, but the sale won't last much longer.
Laura Cole live in South Sacramento on Mobile 13 with the super sale already has people lined up.
So exciting here tonight. Look at all these people in line. In fact, this woman, she's already got her $1. That's because all of these people, about 30 or so, they've been waiting, some of them right here, since Monday. What do they want? Let me show you. We're going inside the store. I am so excited to show this right now. I mean, people are working so hard to make this place look beautiful for tomorrow at 8 a.m. when they open the stores. 9 customers will be able to get this flat screen TV 40-inch LED for 99 cents. Along with that, the next 99 customers, they'll be able to get this scooter for 99 cents. And that's not all. I've only got a little bit more time, but I kind of just want to rush you around the store really quick. They're already trying to wrap me, but let me just show you guys. This is what we're talking about right here. This is the grocery store. Everything here, for the most part, 99 cents. So it is going to be busy tomorrow in here at 8 a.m.
Okay. Well, they're waiting for a long time there, Laura. Thanks very much to get in on a good deal. Sacramento is the 7th fittest city in America. The American College of Sports Medicine ranked Minneapolis first, Washington, D.C. second, Portland third. Last year, by the way, Sacramento came in 6th in this survey. Researchers factored in how much people exercised, how much the cities spend on parks, golf courses, and playgrounds, among other things.
Well, you can't get fit without building up a little sweat. But what if we told you local inventors have come up with a sweat-proof cloth?
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone would buy it.
You may soon get that chance. Tonight, UC Davis researchers are saying no sweat to the challenge of creating a sweat-proof fabric.
New tonight and only on CBS 13. Tony Lopez live with how this works. Got to see it to believe it, Tony.
So I've been playing basketball for the last hour or so, and pretty embarrassing. I mean, I'm just drenched in sweat. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if you could work out and just have the sweat roll off your skin? Well, some very smart people up in the UC Davis area, they figured out a way to make that happen.
We lift and we glide and we sweat.
I get extremely soaked, and then I have all these stains.
And the more you sweat, the more distracting it is.
What if I told you this tiny piece of cloth is being designed to soak up that distraction?
I think that'd be great.
A UC Davis grad student and professor are now 6 to 12 months away from manufacturing a groundbreaking new fabric.
They actually gradually disappear from this side.
The material works like human skin. Sweat doesn't absorb into your body. It's funneled through chambers in the fabric.
If you look closely, you will see there are 3 spots.
And those spots attract the sweat, merging small droplets into one big droplet, which is then rolled away from your skin.
You can see how it bounces off the surface and doesn't stay there.
Because it doesn't stay there, it won't weigh you down during a tough workout.
It definitely will help you stay in a much drier and comfortable state.
And comfort during cardio could help you burn more calories. Staying dry near the dumbbells could build even more muscle.
So to have a fabric that didn't show any sweat marks would be awesome.
If this cloth or whatnot is cheaper and keeps the sweat out, yeah, I mean, I think anyone would buy it.
UC Davis minds have already bought in to the well-known phrase, don't ever let them see you sweat.
I should have remembered that phrase. I'm warmer in the jacket now. These researchers have a dream, though, guys. They want to see U.S. Olympic athletes, maybe some NBA players. I got an idea. The new Sacramento Kings uniforms could be made with this sweat-proof fabric.
Huh.
There you go.
Why'd you change clothes?
I was a little wet, you know. I was still sweating, Sam.
He's sweaty.
Stories about sweat.
Maybe a little stinky, too.
I'm a little slow in the uptake, sorry.
Thanks, Tony.
That stuff will be great for summertime weather live shots.
Yes.
When it's 100,000 degrees outside.
Dave will be our tester.
There you go. Hey, take a look at this. Mother Nature got a little rough with the groundskeepers before Rangers game. Big storm came up. They were trying to get the tarp down. No go. And then they gathered it back up, and then they try to do this again, and they're trying to get it over the diamond, and it just starts to go and go and go, and eventually they lose it again. Took about 20 minutes for them to take care of that. We've been watching those big storms off and on all day long from Texas all the way up toward the Great Lakes. All right, from there, let's go ahead and take a look at our current conditions. As you can see, we've got 60s out there, so conditions are actually pretty pleasant. Currently 66 in Sacramento. And are we warmer than yesterday? Actually, we're a little cooler compared to 24 hours ago, so that's kind of nice. And as far as the winds, they're coming in southwest about 15 through the Delta, and then they split up like they normally do, going out of the northwest in the northern San Joaquin Valley and the southwest from Sacramento on to the north. All right, the numbers from this afternoon, we warmed up. We should be averaging the low to mid 80s, and pretty much we were in the low 80s. It was a great day. 83 for Sacramento, 81 for Stockton, 82 around Modesto with morning lows in the upper 50s and low 60s. For tomorrow, we're going to warm it up just a bit. Again, back here, you can see all these big boomers that fired off, and that's what caused all the trouble there at that Rangers game. Now, as we go all the way out here to the west, we're building in a bit of a ridge of high pressure. For tomorrow, we'll be between about 85 and 90 degrees, and then after that, we're really going to start to crank up the temperatures toward the end of the work week and on into the weekend. So I'll have more on that with the 7-day forecast here in just a little bit. But basically for tomorrow, we're going to go with a mostly sunny day. Patchy fog over toward the west, but here in the valley, obviously, mostly sunny skies and just slowly ratcheting up those daytime highs. We're going to be topping out as we heat things up, as we said, between about 85 and 90 degrees, so just a little above where you'd expect to be for this time toward the tail end of May. June is just around the corner. So those are your highs, and as far as our overnight lows, we're going to be dropping down between about down into the 50s, so it's going to be a really great overnight under mostly clear skies. So if you can open up the windows, let some of that cool air on in. Warming a bit tomorrow, 85 to 90 degrees, and on the hour-by-hour forecast, when are we going to start getting into some of that afternoon heat? Probably around 2, 3, 4 o'clock. We're going to be into the low to mid 80s, and it looks like we're going to stay there in the upper 80s, about 87 or between 4 and 5 o'clock. And then by the time we hit tomorrow evening, 77 degrees at 8 o'clock. Nice to go out, maybe take a stroll or go out and have a nice little dinner outside. It should be beautiful. After that, though, we are warming things up. Details with the 7-day forecast. Now this.
Bad Samaritan, the suspect who scooped up someone else's cash, then sat feet away and watched him search for the missing $2,000.
Workplace romance. How many people admit to having sex at work?
I would never. iPhone or Droid, which users are on their phones more often every day? Keep it right here.
A new poll paints a rather dismal economic picture for 3 local cities. A survey by MarketWatch of the top 100 metropolitan areas shows 3 local cities rank at the bottom when it comes to economic growth. The survey ranks Stockton dead last, number 100 on that list. Also was Modesto at 99 and Sacramento at 93 when it comes to economic growth, according to MarketWatch.
The Rockland cosmetic surgeon stripped of his license after patients say he botched surgeries, wants his license back.
We call on Curtis Ming now with why he believes he was treated unfairly.
Well, Dr. Efrain Gonzalez wants a Sacramento County judge to give him his license back. The Rockland cosmetic surgeon thinks the state temporarily stripped him of his license in March based on media attention and political pressure. But the medical board says a case must be strong for a license to be taken away.
That extremely high burden must be met in order for something like this to be granted.
Our investigation uncovered more than a dozen patients who say Gonzalez botched their procedures at Advanced Med Spa in Rockland. Gonzalez also faces felony grand theft charges. A new study says we spend on average an hour on our smartphones each and every day. That includes talking, texting, tweeting, and playing games. And according to Experian, who did this study, iPhone users are on their phones nearly a half hour more than Android users. When you tip at Starbucks, who should get the money? Baristas in New York are suing, saying tip sharing with managers is not fair. The coffee chain defends the practice, saying shift supervisors also deserve the money. The case is now at the New York Appeals Court. And here's what's coming up in our next half hour. 8 oil changes for $59.
I thought that was a great deal.
But months after buying it from an online site, her local shop closed. Should she get a refund? We'll see about that later here at 10. Okay, we're sitting here on set. You have a Droid and you have an iPhone user. Who uses it more? Do you think you're using it more than me?
I'll tell you what, I use it a lot.
I was just
really
tweeting that you said that we spend so much time, so I figured I would send that out
It's
online.
the world today.
It is.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, interesting
Thanks.
stuff. Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Workplace romances may be more common than you think. According to the Business Insider, 90% of people surveyed say they've been sexually attracted to a coworker. 54% of people say they've had sex with a coworker, and nearly 50% admitted to having sex at the office.
All new at 10.
Do you have what it takes?
A totally new type of bulked up athlete. The training getting results naturally.
What in the world is this? Here's a hint. A guy had it stuck in his head for 15 years.
I cannot believe that people can be that dishonest.
A cash crisis. A local man drops thousands of dollars on the ground. Who finds it and why they're being called bad Samaritans tonight?
It's all new and all next on the CBS 13 News at 10. getting answers with the area's most watched late news. This is the CBS 13 News at 10.
Caught on camera, bad Samaritans cashing in on a good guy's bad luck. It took him months to save a $2,000 down payment, but only a few minutes to lose it all.
Only on CBS 13, Nick James is in Manteca with how this cash ended up in the wrong hands.
Well, it's simple right and wrong. If you see somebody drop some money, you let them know so they can go ahead and pick it up. In this case, that didn't happen, and it was a lot more than $15. As he casually strolls into the restaurant, John has no idea he's dropped his cash roll on the pavement, all $2,200.
You got to ask yourself, what would you do? I mean, I would think that most people would, at least if they saw who it was, would have a consciously return it.
That's most people, but this man, who clearly saw the whole thing, scurries over, stoops down by John's car, and grabs the cash. Meanwhile, inside the Manteca El Pollo Loco, John's fumbling around in his pockets, realizing his $2,000 is missing. Little does he know the man who took it is right behind him in line. The suspect makes a beeline for the bathroom, and as John runs back outside to his car, the two actually cross paths.
So I'm tearing my whole truck apart. At the same time, I'm looking into El Pollo Loco, and I can see these people looking at me.
John says the suspects and his friends must have no conscience. They sat there eating, watching him desperately search for the money they just picked up.
I think it's absolutely appalling. I cannot believe that people can be that dishonest.
To add even more insult to injury, John was going to use that money to move from Southern California to live closer to his parents. And the reason the wad of cash was out in the first place, John had taken it out to give a $10 bill to a homeless woman on his way to the restaurant. Now he's hoping someone will step up and ID this man who took something that wasn't his and weeks later still hasn't returned it.
Decided they needed the money more than I did. It's kind of disheartening.
You don't have to be a cop to know that that's wrong, but in case you're wondering, the technical term for it is misappropriation of lost funds. And yeah, it's against the law.
Now, the suspect's car is a blue early 90s Honda. One of the driver's doors is different color than the rest of the car. John is offering a $300 reward, and Crime Stoppers is offering a $1,000 reward for information leading to an arrest.
Serious concerns in Elk Grove after a series of break-ins in recent months. Police say from January to March, there have been 130 smash-in burglaries. Most of these break-ins happen during the day, sometimes right in front of neighbors. But by the time 911 gets called and police show up, the suspects are long gone.
Typically, most of the burglaries that we do see are during the daytime, very few nighttime burglaries.
Police are still looking for the suspects. New details tonight in a fatal hit and run that killed a wheelchair-bound man in Sacramento. The 51-year-old was struck and killed as he crossed X Street near 19th by a car police say fits this description. It's a white 1994 to 98 Ford Mustang with black exterior mirrors. Investigators say the car has damage to the right headlight and is missing the right side mirror.
The state agency responsible for highways is about to be the subject of a thorough investigation. New tonight, Kristen Ayers has more now on what we can expect from a sweeping review of Caltrans.
Governor Jerry Brown sanctioned the top-to-bottom independent review of Caltrans.
It's a good time to take a fresh look, see what gives.
For months, Caltrans has faced intense scrutiny over why it installed these bolts on the $6 billion New Bay Bridge, so fragile that 32 of them broke, and there are still questions about whether there are more bad bolts.
The confidence in Caltrans is something that's completely eroded at this point. We want to reestablish that.
Reestablishing that, State Senator Mark DeSaulnier says, will mean taking a hard look at the transportation agency. The Wisconsin-based State Smart Transportation Initiative will do the work. They have a history with Caltrans. Last year, they helped to conduct a self-assessment of how Caltrans could improve the way it does business and handles its money.
Caltrans clearly needs an independent review, so the issues around the bridge are symptomatic of a much larger problem in a very large insular institution.
Today, Caltrans workers continued the breakneck scramble to finish the $10 million fix for the broken bolts, massive steel saddles beneath the bridge, while Metropolitan Transportation Commission Director Steve Heminger struggled to answer questions about when the bridge will open.
I don't think there's any way to sugarcoat it, and that is we're going to need a little more time.
If anything, I think that what came out of the presentation today is probably more questions than answers.
The independent review will happen over the next 7 months. The governor says he did not order the review because of the bolt problem. He says it's part of a reorganization plan for Caltrans, but Governor Brown also admitted he is quite concerned about what's going on with the bridge. If you are waiting to find out about the possible delayed opening of the new eastern span of the Bay Bridge, prepare to wait longer. Caltrans officials now say it could be a month or even longer before they'll even make a call on the Labor Day weekend opening of the $6.4 billion bridge. Christina?
Sam, time now for What in the World? There was a major mix-up at the Miss Universe Canada beauty pageant. The wrong contestant was crowned the winner.
Miss Universe Canada 2013 is Denise Garida!
Right. Even she looks confused, huh? Less than 24 hours after that, pageant's organizers realized that they made a typo there. Pageant organizers stripped Garrido of her title. They apologized to her, but she's now too old to compete again, and she says that she's now been asked to come back next year as a judge. Nearly 300 bright minds are competing in this year's Scripps National Spelling Bee, but there's a twist this year. Participants not only have to spell the words, but they have to take a test defining 25 words.
It was multiple choice, so when in doubt, go with C. I'm kidding, but I think I did well overall.
The point of the change, bee organizers say, is to focus on more than just spelling. Inside the Actors Studio host James Lipton used to have a very different occupation. He says that back in the 1950s, he was a pimp in Paris. Lipton told Parade magazine he got into that profession through a friend who was working as a prostitute, and he admits he did, quote, a roaring business. And how about this? A 24-year-old from Afghanistan lived for 15 years with a pencil lodged in his throat and his eye socket. That's it right there. Doctors say he had impaired vision and headaches, and they brought him in and found that a pencil was in there using a CT scan. The man says he remembers a childhood accident where he fell and suffered a nosebleed, but he doesn't remember the pencil part. It was removed, and doctors say he is doing just fine today.
Wow. All four were strong What in the Worlds tonight.
Thank you, Sam.
Out here we're saying What in the World 4 times.
When in doubt, go to C. That was that was my college
Isn't
career.
Isn't that fantastic? Words to live by.
All right. And Dave said my GPA. Right. Thank you.
Athletes are getting bigger, stronger, and faster, and they're doing it without steroids.
New tonight, Christy Fajardo with how technology is helping to create these super athletes.
Big pulse.
Tristan Jabia has dreams of playing in the NFL.
Everything you got.
And very possibly the talent to do it. But the 14-year-old quarterback at football powerhouse Oaks Christian in Westlake Village needs to bulk up.
If I can't do it naturally, why would I do it at all?
That's why his father, a sports agent, Richard Jabia, trusts this man.
Do you have what it takes?
Todd Person with his very important person, his son.
Well, you hear a lot about professional athletes using and taking enhancement drugs, but I think for my son, I think it's real important. There is a way to do it naturally.
Person's gym in West LA is lined with professional jerseys of clients who he says all got bigger, better, faster, the new fashioned way. With technology, hard work, and without the use of steroids.
It's somewhere down the line. You're going to pay the piper for this choice that you are going to make.
It's a message he hopes gains traction in an age when professional sports is littered with home run hitting, record-breaking, medal-winning athletes who all got to the top of their games with the help of performance-enhancing drugs. And in the high-stakes, high-paying world of sports, the pressure to be the best at all costs starts young. According to pediatric health website kidshealth.org, 5% of teenage boys and 2.5% of girls the same age have used some form of anabolic steroids.
The athlete can delude themselves and say whatever they want. I think that at the end of the day, they're liars and they're cheaters.
You start wondering, what is about them that I'm not going to win over? What is about them that could possibly defeat me? And you start buying into the story.
Alexandra Spinner turned to steroids and other PEDs in the 90s. She says with serious consequences. At 44, she was diagnosed with an enlarged heart.
I'm thinking, I'm going to die. So I'm picturing my chest being cracked open.
But Person insists with today's technology, there's no reason to risk steroids and adds there's nothing drugs offer you can't get the natural way.
So what's the secret to getting results? Person says it's not much of a secret. It just takes hard work and knowledge.
20 seconds.
This machine may look like a video game, but the resistance improves endurance.
Keep pulling.
The Rope Flex quickly builds muscle mass.
It's almost like an anaerobic or anabolic stimulator. It's phenomenal. And you can get that muscle stimulation to grow without any of the bad effects of, say, soreness.
And this room simulates high altitudes to increase red blood cells and get the heart pumping. And for those who can't afford his services, which run $150 for 45 minutes, Person suggests doing it on your own.
Fabulous information on YouTube, on the internet.
3, 2.
A cartoon controversy, the superhero change many say is inappropriate for young viewers.
A viewer bought a voucher good for 8 oil changes, but her local shop closed after using just 2.
I was very angry.
The company that sold her the voucher is still in business, so is she owed a refund? We'll see about that.
All right, that 7 days is going to be getting warm and windy, so we're going to talk about when we're going to start to feel that heat and how strong those winds are going to get when you come back next.
Children's cable network The Hub is launching its latest cartoon about a boy who turns into a superhero girl. The cartoon is creating controversy among critics who say the idea of a transsexual character is not appropriate for young kids. Shi Zhao's star is a 12-year-old boy who uses a magic ring to transform himself into his alter ego, a girl wearing a skirt and go-go boots. Here's a local story for you tonight. A family-run coffee company in Lincoln just got a big boost from a Massachusetts court.
The Rogers Family Coffee Company was being sued by popular Keurig over the patent for their coffee pods. The suit claimed the locals' packets were too similar to their own Keurig brand pods. The court ruled in the Rogers Company's favor, saying that the pods were different enough from Keurig's brand.
The ruling is the greatest thing in the world. I love it. It's what I hopefully expected.
We asked for a comment from Keurig about the ruling, but so far we haven't heard back.
Well, a Roseville woman bought a voucher. It would give her big discounts on oil changes.
The shop nearby that took the deal closed. When she couldn't get a refund, she called Curtis.
The company is called America's Best Car Care, and they sell these cars good at various shops across the country. She found a place miles from her home, and she bought the deal. But when the shop closed, why couldn't she get a refund? It's a fun car.
It's fast.
But car maintenance is costly on Shannon Babcock's Mitsubishi Eclipse. She found a deal online, 8 oil changes for $59. America's Best Car Care Plan.com showed she could use the voucher at a Meineke shop 5 miles from her house.
I thought that was a great deal.
So great, she bought one for her brother, too. But 4 months later, and after just 2 oil changes between her and her brother's car, the Meineke shop in Roseville closed.
I was very angry. I was very angry at that point.
The closest shop accepting the coupons, more than 30 miles away in Elk Grove, which she says is too far. She wanted a refund for the oil changes they didn't use. America's Best said no.
She did buy this service package under certain assumptions.
The BBB's Kaylin Peterson thinks because America's Best marketed the coupons for use at the Meineke in Roseville, they should refund the customer. America's Best told us it's just a marketing company and points to the fine print in its voucher, releasing them of any liability. But in a statement, the company told us, in good faith, we wish to extend our very best and are willing to go above and beyond our legal obligations to take care of the customer so you can see we are the good guys. After we got involved, Shannon says the company agreed to a full refund.
I'm disappointed that it took going to this level to get that, but I do feel vindicated. I feel good that I stood up for myself and for my family.
Well, Shannon says while the terms are on the voucher, she says they weren't posted clearly anywhere on America's Best website. Now, we found those terms posted online, but it took multiple clips and enlarging, and it's still tough to read even when you do that.
And so many of us are tempted by these offers. So should we be worried about these marketing companies' offers?
Well, you know, I mean, companies like Groupon, they do have policies that if a company closes or goes out of business before you could use it, you get a refund. But not all the companies do that. So you really need to know these things before you sign up with these marketing companies for these deals. Ask what happens if the company closes. Am I going to get my money back?
Okay. Stands to reason there.
Yep. All right, if you have something you want us to investigate, let us know about it. You can call our hotline Monday through Friday, 916-374-1343. Or you could always go to our website. It's cbssacramento.com. Click on Call Curtis and fill out our form.
All right, Mr. Bender's back.
Yeah, what a great day. And temperatures a little above where we should be at this time of the year. And that's the leading edge of a heat wave. Little mini heat wave as we head on into the end of May and the beginning of June. Plus the wind will pick up. So we'll have some fire issues, elevated fire danger. We'll put it together with the 7-day here in just a couple of moments. So there you go, 83 around Sacramento. Jay up in Yuba City called in with an 86. We had mid-70s up there into the foothills. Gina from Somerset calling in with a 76, and all the way up there, Vern, our weather spotter from Pollock Pines, calling in with a 66 this afternoon. All right, let's take a look at our current conditions. We're looking at mostly clear skies, live look out toward Fountains at Roseville. That's in Placer County. 67 currently in Sacramento, 62 for Stockton, 68 Modesto, 68 for Marysville. Humidity 56%, dew points are right around the upper 40s, close to 50 degrees. Winds are southwest at 6, and the barometer is rising at 29.87. So as we go ahead here and look at the Pacific view, you can see that everything as far as the moisture is staying up to the north here. We have a ridge of high pressure building on in, and as that builds on in, that's going to allow our temperatures to rise. Tomorrow, not totally getting too hot, but between about 85 and 90, so a little above where you'd expect to be. As we get on into the Friday portion, and then as we go into Saturday, which is the beginning of June, it looks like we're going to see daytime highs running in the mid to upper 90s, and it's going to get a bit gusty. Maybe some wind gusts to 35 miles per hour at times in the valley. So that'll elevate the fire danger. It's going to dry things out, but you can see that ridge building in here. And for the most part, that's for your Friday. As this all builds on in, we will at least dodge the triple-digit bullet this weekend, but it is going to be a toasty way to roll into June. The winds will be dying down. They won't be around for the most part as we get on into Sunday, so that's some good news. So here's forecast for tomorrow. Could be a little gusty in the northern San Joaquin Valley. Winds are shifting around to the northwest. That'll dry us out and warm us up. 87 for Sacramento, morning low at 55. 86 around Elk Grove. And on toward the north end of the valley there, you're looking at mid-80s for Orville and Chico, and we'll keep it in the 80s all the way up there toward Redding and Red Bluff. Now for the Gold Country, guys, are looking at a good day. Thursday, you guys are living large. Mostly sunny skies, daytime highs in the 70s on into the low 80s. 82 around Auburn tomorrow, morning low at Double Nichols 55. You get up toward Plumas County, you're looking good up there. 79 for Quincy, morning low at 38. And the overnight lows are actually kind of chilly because it's kind of dry up there. Upper 20s to the mid 30s. In fact, the morning low at 35 around South Shore. That's the water modifying that. You can't, get near a body of water, actually keeps the temperature up a little bit. Over toward the coast, you got some patchy fog to start and mostly sunny skies by the afternoon. It's cool. 64 for Monterey, 70 around San Jose. You got temperatures in the mid 60s around San Francisco with a morning low there at about 50 degrees. And we won't have quite as much fog to start out the day up toward Fort Bragg with a daytime high there at 60 degrees. So there's Friday, last day of May. Oops, getting toasty. And then hello June. 98 and breezy, and then you're starting to cool back down, still above average, but back to the 80s by Tuesday on into Wednesday. So enjoy tomorrow. Should be an awesome day. Now this.
The ability to influence really requires the ability to connect with others.
A communication disconnect. Why our phones are making it harder to communicate with each other.